You just scrolled past someone's vacation photos from Greece. Beautiful sunset, crystal blue water, expensive-looking hotel. And for just a second, your own life felt smaller. You're sitting in your living room that was perfectly fine 5 minutes ago, but now it feels kind of shabby. Your furniture is outdated. Your TV is too small. You haven't traveled anywhere interesting in years. And suddenly you're on Amazon looking at patio furniture you don't need, planning a trip you can't afford, wondering why your life doesn't look like everyone else's highlight reel. My name is Drew, and I spend way too much time thinking about why the constant desire for more is quietly destroying people's finances and happiness. If you're someone who feels like no matter how much you earn or buy, it's never quite enough, who's always looking at what other people have and feeling behind, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, because I'm about to show you that the real cost of wanting more isn't the money you spend. It's the contentment you never feel and the wealth you never build. Now look, I know what you're thinking. Drew, wanting more is normal. It's human nature. Ambition is good, right? And here's the thing. You're partially right. Having goals is healthy. Wanting to improve your life is normal. But there's a massive difference between having intentional goals and having a constant, vague dissatisfaction with everything you currently have. Let me show you exactly what I mean, because this is where it gets interesting. There's a concept in psychology called the hedonic treadmill. It's the idea that humans quickly adapt to improvements in their circumstances and return to a baseline level of happiness. You get a new car, you're thrilled for about 2 weeks, then it becomes normal. You move to a nicer apartment, you love it for a month, then you stop noticing. You buy new clothes, they feel great for a few wears, then they're just clothes. Here's the thing. The hedonic treadmill isn't just about returning to baseline happiness. It's about constantly chasing the next thing because you expect it to make you happy in a way that the last thing didn't. You thought the new car would make you happy. It didn't, not permanently. So maybe it's a nicer apartment, then nicer clothes, then a vacation, then a bigger TV, then renovating your kitchen. The goalpost keeps moving. Now you might be thinking, okay, Drew, but so what? If buying things makes me happy even temporarily, isn't that worth it? And here's what most people don't realize. The wanting itself is expensive. Not just financially, psychologically. Every single thing you want that you don't have creates a micro dissatisfaction in your brain. You want a nicer car. Every time you get in your current car, there's a tiny sting of disappointment. You want a bigger house. Every time you're in your living room, you notice what's missing instead of what's there. You want to travel more. Every weekend at home feels like you're missing out. These micro dissatisfactions add up. You're training your brain to focus on lack instead of abundance, on what you don't have instead of what you do. And that mindset is absolutely exhausting to maintain. There's research from psychologist Tim Kasser showing that people who score high on materialistic values, people who strongly want more money, possessions, and status, consistently report lower life satisfaction, more depression, and more anxiety than people with less materialistic values. And here's the kicker. This held true across all income levels. Rich materialistic people were less happy than less rich people who weren't materialistic. Let me give you a real example. My friend Josh makes about $95,000 a year. Solid income. But he's miserable about money. He wants a nicer car than his 3-year-old Honda. He wants a bigger house than his perfectly adequate 1,800 square foot place. He wants to vacation like his friends who post from Bali and Iceland. He's constantly scrolling Zillow, browsing car sites, planning trips he's not booking. Meanwhile, my friend Maria makes $62,000. She drives a 10-year-old Toyota. She lives in a small 2-bedroom. She takes one modest vacation a year, and she's genuinely content. Not because she has less, but because she's not constantly comparing what she has to what everyone else has. She's not spending mental energy wanting things she doesn't have. Who do you think is building more wealth? Maria, because Josh is spending almost everything he earns trying to keep up with an imaginary standard. Maria is saving 25% of her income because she's not on the hedonic treadmill. This is what most people don't realize. Wanting more doesn't just cost you the money you spend trying to satisfy those wants. It costs you the money you don't save because you're always finding something new to want. It costs you peace of mind. It costs you the ability to enjoy what you already have. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Social media has turned the hedonic treadmill into a high-speed conveyor belt. Before Instagram and TikTok, you compared yourself to your immediate circle, neighbors, coworkers, family. Now you're comparing yourself to everyone, constantly, from all over the world. You see someone's kitchen renovation, someone's new car, someone's vacation, someone's outfit, someone's gadget, and your brain doesn't differentiate between person I actually know and random stranger on the internet. It just registers. That person has something I don't have. Maybe I should have that too. There's a study from the American Psychological Association that found people who spend more time on social media report higher levels of materialistic values and lower levels of life satisfaction. And it's not because social media makes you more materialistic. It's because social media is a constant stream of things other people have that you don't. Think about how insane this is. You're letting random strangers you'll never meet dictate what you think you need to be happy. That influencer with the perfect kitchen? They might be drowning in debt. That person posting from Santorini? That might be their one vacation funded by credit cards they'll be paying off for years. You're comparing your full reality to everyone else's carefully curated highlight reel. Now you might be thinking, but Drew, I don't want to just settle for less. I don't want to be complacent. Shouldn't I want to improve my life? And look, there's a huge difference between wanting to improve and constantly wanting more. Wanting to improve is specific and intentional. I want to save up $20,000 for a down payment on a house is improving. I just want a nicer place is wanting more. See the difference? One has a clear goal and endpoint. The other is vague and endless. Here's what most people don't realize. The wanting never stops unless you consciously decide to stop it. There's always something more to want. Always someone with something better. Always an upgrade available. If you're waiting to feel satisfied after you get the next thing, you'll be waiting forever. Let me show you what actually works to break this cycle. First, you need to implement what I call a satisfaction audit. Look at the major purchases you've made in the last 2 years. That new phone, those shoes, that gadget, whatever. For each purchase, ask yourself, how long did the satisfaction last? A week? A month? And more importantly, am I still glad I bought this, or has it just become part of the background? For most people, the honest answer is uncomfortable. Most purchases deliver way less lasting satisfaction than you expected when you bought them. That $800 you spent on something you thought would make you happy, it made you happy for approximately 3 days. Second, practice what researchers call gratitude intervention. Sounds corny, but the research is solid. Every day, identify 3 specific things you already have that you're grateful for. Not vague stuff like my health, specific stuff. This coffee tastes good. My couch is comfortable. My car started on the first try. What you're doing is retraining your brain to notice abundance instead of lack. Because your brain is wired to notice what's missing, that's a survival mechanism. But in modern society, that wiring makes you miserable because there's always something missing. You have to consciously override it. Third, unfollow anyone on social media who makes you feel inadequate. Seriously, if you see someone's post and you feel worse about your own life, that person is costing you money because they're creating artificial wants that lead to real spending. Fourth, implement a 30-day want list. Anytime you want to buy something non-essential, write it down with the date. Don't buy it for 30 days. After 30 days, if you still want it and it fits your budget, buy it. What you'll find is that about 70% of the things on your list stop feeling important after a week or two. You were confusing wanting with needing, and time exposed the difference. Fifth, get really clear on what you actually value versus what you think you should want. Maybe you don't actually care about having a fancy car. Maybe you only want one because you think other people will judge you for driving something old. That's not wanting. That's insecurity. And you can't buy your way out of insecurity. Here's what most people don't realize. The richest person isn't the one with the most money. It's the one with the smallest gap between what they have and what they want. You can get rich by earning more, or you can get rich by wanting less. One of those is entirely within your control right now. Let me give you another example. My friend David was making $70,000 and always felt broke because he wanted everything. New car, bigger apartment, latest tech, frequent travel. He'd complain constantly about not having enough money. Then he got a promotion to $95,000. Within 6 months, he was complaining about the same things because his wants scaled with his income. Compare that to my friend Lisa. She makes $58,000. She wanted a $15,000 emergency fund, a paid-off car, and enough saved to take one international trip every 2 years. She hit all those goals and now she feels wealthy because her wants were specific and achievable and she accomplished them. Same economy, similar jobs, wildly different experiences. The difference isn't income, it's the relationship between income and wants. This is what most people don't realize. Every time you want something new, you're making a choice. Not just about whether to buy it, about whether to let wanting it take up space in your brain. And that mental space is expensive. Every minute you spend wanting things you don't have is a minute you're not enjoying things you do have. Here's the really uncomfortable truth. Most of what you don't actually want. You want the feeling you think it'll give you. You don't want a luxury car. You want to feel successful. You don't want a bigger house. You want to feel like you've made it. You don't want expensive clothes. You want to feel attractive or respected. But here's the thing. Buying the thing doesn't give you the feeling. Or it does for about 2 days. Then you're back to baseline and looking for the next thing that might finally deliver the feeling you're chasing. The only way to actually feel successful or like you've made it or secure or respected, whatever feeling you're chasing, is to decide you already are those things. To feel successful because you're saving money and building wealth, not because you're spending money trying to look wealthy. If this video made you realize that constantly wanting more is costing you way more than money, hit that like button and subscribe because I'm making videos like this every week about the psychological traps that keep people broke. Drop a comment letting me know. What's something you wanted desperately 6 months ago that you don't even think about now? Now go audit your wants. Figure out which ones are real and which ones are just noise. You've got this.